I'm Judy Shaw for NYSC Floor Talk. Joining me today is Sal Khan. Sal is the founder and CEO of Khan Academy. Sal pioneered online learning with the founding of Khan Academy in 2008, a nonprofit educational organization which offers video lessons and other online tools in multiple languages on topics from math to history to what's an IPO. Sal, thank you so much for joining me.
Great to be here, Judy.
Now, Sal, the COVID-19 pandemic has led to school closures globally and a shift to online learning. What do you think have been the biggest challenges with this shift, and what can be learned from it?
Yeah, I think the biggest challenge has just been how fast it happened, and a lot of folks just aren't equipped at home to be able to go fully online. You know, so many of the students that we all want to serve the most either don't have access at home. You know, we've talked to a lot of school districts. They've even lost track of some of the school students when they had to close that quickly. So I think that digital divide is the biggest difficulty here. And then once you get past that, it's just de-stressing parents and teachers to realize that we can put one foot in front of the other and start small and then build from there. We don't have to feel like we have to replicate all of school all at once at home, which is pretty much impossible.
Okay, so now I know that Khan Academy is actually doing some things to support teachers and parents during this time. What are you doing?
Yeah, it's one of those things where the week before school closures, when we thought it might happen, and clearly it all evolved much faster than any of us expected, it was one of those moments where you kind of, you turn left, you turn right, and you're like, I guess this is us. We could have never predicted this situation happening, but over the last 10 years, we've been building exactly the type of resources that are needed. We have exercises and videos and things and software that allows students to learn at their own time and pace from early learning through elementary school, middle school, high school, even the core of college. And what we realized is we needed to make easy ways to support parents and teachers and students to be able to make it fit into their new life, their new socially distanced life. So we started publishing calendars, daily schedules of what it could look like for students of different age groups. We started running parent and teacher webinars to help them understand how to navigate all of this. We've been putting out learning plans to understand what are reasonable goals for students of different ages and different subjects, not just through the end of the school year, but through the summer as well. And we're trying to accelerate just a lot of things that I thought we were going to get to in the next 5 years. We realized this, this needs to happen tomorrow if we can. So we're just, we're kind of in a war room environment and just trying to do what we can. Our traffic is about 3x of what it typically is, and we're trying to keep that up at the same time of accelerating a bunch of other things.
Wow. Okay, that sounds amazing. So now, do you have any tips to finish the school year strong?
My tip is it's all about building a habit, and it's all about consistency. As I said before, you don't need to replicate the entire school day. That's impossible. But if students are able to every weekday, say, get 20 to 30 minutes of math, 20 to 30 minutes of reading, 20 to 30 minutes of writing, and not just continue through the end of the school year, but continue through the summer, I think they're going to be just fine. And that 20, 30 minutes of math, it can be done very easily on Khan Academy, pretty much for any age group. That 20, 30 minutes of reading, we have resources on Khan Academy for 2nd grade through 8th grade. Khan Academy Kids has reading on it for early learners. And then we have things like our SAT practice that includes reading comprehension and writing practice in it. So those are the types of things, if someone does 20, 30 minutes a day of each of them, and so you can imagine we're only talking about an hour and a half, 2 hours, not only will the students' muscles not atrophy, but there's a chance that they might even be more prepared than otherwise as they go back to school, especially if they leverage the summer.
Right, exactly. So now let's talk about that. Looking at the new school year, looking at the fall, what do you think the future of learning is going to hold?
Yeah, this past week, I've gotten more indications that this coming school year is not going to be in any way normal. I think right when the closures happened, some people thought this was only going to be a few weeks. I think it was pretty clear it was going to happen through the end of the school year. But there was always this hope that, come September, we could get back to normalcy. But what I'm hearing is, at best, it's going to be some type of shift-based model. They're going to socially distance the kids, which means that they're not going to have capacity for all of the kids at the same time. They're also going to need to support, there's going to be kids in families that might have an elderly relative, someone who's immunocompromised. And so they're going to need to support kids who continue to work from home because they just don't feel safe coming to school. And then, of course, there's a possibility of more intermittent closures. So it's going to be a very unusual back to school, and this might continue throughout the next school year. So we are trying to build more supports. We're building mechanisms for this back to school that get kids to grade level as quickly as possible. We're calling them getting ready for sixth grade, getting ready for fifth grade, getting ready for algebra courses. We could imagine that schools really front load that work so you can narrow the gap between students, and then have them work at their own time and pace on their grade level work on Khan Academy. And that has value if school's happening normally, because kids can learn at their own time and pace and master concepts. But then if only with a day or two's notice you have to close again, or some kids have to work from home, you can lean more heavily on that.
Wow. Well, Sal Khan, I want to thank you so much for joining me on NYSE Floor Talk.
Thanks for having me.